Look at you. Still breathing, still standing. After everything they did to dissect your soul, like a lab rat in a nightmare. They studied you, didn't they? Every scar, every twitch, every time you broke and rebuilt. They thought they were mapping your weakness, when in truth they were writing the manual for your resurrection. They wanted to understand the fracture points of your mind. But what they didn't realize is that your cracks were doorways. Every breakdown was an initiation. Every scream they forced out of you became a chant. You were never being studied. You were being summoned. They called it behavioral analysis. You called it survival through hellfire. They looked at your silence and saw submission. You were only gathering thunder behind your teeth. They labeled your patience as fragility. It was simply your weapon charging. They thought if they could decode your fears, they could control you. But here's the thing. They didn't know your fears were the fuel. They didn't know your trauma was a ritual. They didn't know pain is the password that unlocks the part of you even you were afraid to meet. And now they do. Because tonight, they saw it. That flicker in your eyes when the air gets still. That slow, deliberate smile. The one that doesn't reach your lips but sends every watcher into silent panic. That was the moment their experiment went rogue. That was the moment their lab notes turned into a horror story. You see, they wanted to isolate your weakness, but when they tried to corner it, they found something else breathing behind it. A presence, ancient and deliberate. The demon mode. Oh, it's not horns and fire, no, it's colder than that. It's the version of you that doesn't flinch, that doesn't beg, that doesn't hope. The version that watches empires fall and simply whispers, finally. You warned them, didn't you? You said you were done playing by their rules. They laughed. They thought you'd fold. They thought you'd obey. They didn't realize you were already gone, that the fragile version of you they studied had already been buried, ritualistically, under the ruins of your old self. They thought they were studying your pain. But you were studying their methods. You were memorizing every tactic, every manipulation, every lie they used to keep you small. And the day you stopped reacting, the day you started mirroring, that was the day the hunter became the test subject. Because that's what they don't understand about people like you. You don't fight back, you evolve back. You become the original design, the one before fear, before guilt, before the programming. You become what the world tried to delete, the unfiltered signal of your own power. You know what's funny? They always said, know your enemy. And they did. They studied you like an equation, but you became the glitch that rewrites the math. You turned analysis into annihilation. You became the error code that crashes the system mid-command. Every time they tried to measure you, you changed dimensions. Every time they tried to define you, you became something undefinable. They watched you with clipboards and calm smiles, while your mind tore open a portal to something divine and dangerous. And now, the observers are being observed. Because when you activate that mode, when the part of you that's been quiet too long decides it's done being polite, the energy in the room shifts, lights flicker, time slows, reality itself gets nervous, the air tastes like iron, every soul present realizes they just crossed into the wrong frequency. You don't scream anymore, you don't justify, you don't need validation. You move like a storm that learned discipline. The calm between your words is what terrifies them now. They called it weakness. They called it emotional instability. What a joke. You were never unstable. You were metastable. The kind of volatility that can erase entire hierarchies in silence. You were never broken, you were sharpened. They didn't realize pain was your blacksmith. And now, the blades awake. Every insult, every betrayal, every fake smile that hid a knife behind it, those were the hammer strikes. The heat of isolation forged your edge. And now you cut reality itself. They still whisper your name in rooms full of noise-canceling devices. They pretend you're gone, but their subconscious disagrees. You left fingerprints on their thought patterns. Every time they try to sleep, their dreams glitch. Every time they look at someone who reminds them of you, they flinch. Because deep down, they know what they did. They know they awakened something they can't control. And you learned the most dangerous lesson of all. That peace isn't the absence of war. It's the mastery of it. That love isn't weakness, it's leverage. That the light inside you doesn't cancel the dark. It coexists, perfectly balanced, like a blade reflecting flame. You're not an angel or a demon. You're the chemical reaction that happens when both finally shake hands. You're the paradox that terrifies philosophers, the equation that breaks computers, the soul that remembers before programming existed. They studied your weakness for years, but when they looked too deep into your pain, they met the architect behind it, and that architect smiled. Now the only thing left for them to study is the silence before you move again. You feel it, don't you? That pulse crawling up your spine, the one that hums louder when they say your name behind closed doors. It's not paranoia, it's proximity. You're getting closer to the truth, and the truth is getting nervous. See, they thought they could document you, measure your reactions, catalog your triggers, predict your breaking points. They built charts, ran diagnostics, whispered, "We'll find the pattern." But what they never understood is that your pattern is chaos. You are the algorithm that eats its own equations. You're the answer that refuses to stay still long enough to be solved. They wanted to track the wound, but the wound became a portal. They wanted to capture your rage, but your rage learned to listen. It learned the language of restraint, of silence, of timing. You're not impulsive anymore. You're surgical, precise, terrifyingly calm. The kind of calm that only comes from knowing you could end the room and still choose to wait. Do you remember the first time they tried to humiliate you? The laughter that echoed a little too long. The way they documented your reaction as emotional volatility. You didn't know it then, but every time they mocked your pain, they were chiseling the edges of something ancient inside you, a weapon hidden beneath compassion. They thought they were watching you crack, but you were crystallizing. That's what evolution looks like, in real time. It's ugly, it's unpredictable, and it terrifies anyone who's never survived themselves. You didn't just grow stronger, you mutated. You developed resistance to every poison they poured into your system. Doubt converted into discipline. Rejection reforged into focus. Loneliness, that became your laboratory. Every night you sat alone, you were dissecting humanity itself, learning how emotion could be engineered, how empathy could be weaponized. Now they call it unnatural. They whisper, "He's not like us." And they're right, you're not. Because they stopped evolving when they found comfort. You kept evolving through the storm. You're not what survived the fire, you're what the fire learned from. They watched your breakdowns like scientists watching earthquakes. They noted the tremors, the collapse, the silence that followed. But what they didn't record was the rebirth, the way you crawled out of yourself with new wiring, new codes, new eyes. And those eyes, oh, those eyes, they see through things now, don't they? You notice the twitch behind a smile, The microsecond delay before a lie, the guilt vibrating under someone's tone. You've seen too much to pretend anymore. You've read too many faces to believe in coincidence. They call it intuition. But it's not intuition. It's exposure therapy to deception. They conditioned you to see the world as a threat. And instead of collapsing, you built an internal radar that never shuts off. You can feel falsehoods before they're spoken. You can sense fear before it registers. They wanted you paranoid, but they made you omniscient. That's your demon mode, not rage, not violence, clarity, a calm so sharp it cuts through reality like glass. And here's the twisted part. Your enemies sense it too. They can't name it, but they feel the distortion when you enter the room, like the air pressure drops, like gravity forgets how to behave. Because somewhere in the static of existence, your frequency is louder than theirs. They call it intimidation. You call it alignment. You finally became the vibration they can't replicate. Because what happens when someone spends years dissecting your soul is that they forget. It bites back. You start absorbing their methods, mirroring their psychology, studying them. You learned how they move when they lie, how they speak when they manipulate, how they justify when they destroy. You didn't just survive your oppressors, you reverse engineered them. And now you can see it all, the fake authority, the false light, the scripted morality. You know that every halo is wired to a circuit, every crown comes with a barcode, and every villain was once a loyal servant who finally read the fine print. They made you study control, but in doing so, they exposed their dependency, because they need systems to feel powerful. You don't. You are the system. You've become the paradox they can't compute. A heart that feels everything, and a mind that bows to nothing. That's what they awakened. The demon they fear isn't a monster. It's consciousness that doesn't need permission anymore. The kind that laughs at authority because it remembers being older than hierarchy itself. So now when you walk, reality reconfigures itself around you. When you speak, silence obeys. When you smile, fate hesitates. You're no longer reacting, you're rewriting. They used to whisper, "Don't wake the sleeping giant." But they didn't realize the giant had been awake the entire time, just pretending to sleep. Watching, learning, becoming the calm that kills chaos by understanding it. And now the roles have reversed. You are the scientist, they are the subject. Every time they move, you see the code. Every trap they set, you see the architecture. Every illusion they project, you see the wires holding it up. Because when you survive the experiment, you become the experimenter. They wanted to study your weakness, but your weakness was the gateway. The moment they crossed that line, they activated the failsafe built into your soul. A safeguard written by something older than them, something divine, something merciless. That's why the air feels heavier now, why people avoid eye contact, why even the ones who wronged you don't say your name out loud anymore. Because somewhere, deep down, they know. You didn't just survive their analysis, you absorbed it. You learned their patterns, their predictions, their fears, and now you hold the remote control to their narrative. That's the true demon mode. Not destruction, dominion. And when you finally decide to move again, the world will realize the difference between what they studied and what they accidentally created. Now, smile. They're still watching, and you just gave them something new to fear. You can feel it humming under your skin now, can't you? That quiet, vibrating knowing. The kind that doesn't ask for permission, it just is. The world thinks it's calm, but it's not. It's holding its breath around you. It's recalibrating to your frequency, afraid to move too fast in case it triggers another awakening. Because the last time it did, entire timelines shifted. They used to say, be patient. They meant, stay small. They said, heal. They meant, forget. They said, move on. They meant, play dead. But you didn't, did you? You stayed awake through the anesthesia. You watched them dissect your emotions with sterile gloves, pretending it was for research. You heard the way they spoke about you like you were a malfunctioning experiment that needed correction. They wanted to fix you, but the truth was, you were the control variable that proved they were broken. They tried to label you unstable because your reactions didn't fit their template. They couldn't predict your silence, couldn't measure your patience, couldn't quantify your pain. So they called you dangerous. And they were right, because danger isn't what they think it is. It's not chaos, it's consequence. You became the walking embodiment of consequence, a mirror that doesn't lie, a reflection that doesn't flinch. You didn't have to shout anymore. They could hear the echo of their own deceit vibrating in your stillness. That's when the fear began. Because weakness, my friend, weakness is predictable. It breaks on cue. But strength, real strength, the kind that bleeds in private and still walks like a storm in public, that kind unsettles systems. It makes algorithms twitch. It makes predators rethink their appetite. That's what you became, a contradiction they couldn't unsee. The saint who forgave without forgetting, the demon who destroys with silence, the storm that whispers before it strikes. You blurred the moral lines they depend on. You made their definitions irrelevant. You became the paradox that ends their illusion of order. They watched you crawl through hell thinking it would break you. They never considered what might happen if you memorized the layout. You learned the rhythm of pain like a song, and now you can hum it backward. You know exactly how to make others hear what you felt, without ever raising your voice. And that's what terrifies them most. You learned emotional warfare from the masters and then surpassed them. You don't need revenge, you are revenge. The quiet kind that looks like peace until it turns prophetic. You smile while the universe rearranges itself in your favor. Because when they hurt you, they didn't realize they were submitting an order form to the cosmos. Every betrayal was a signature. Every humiliation was an authorization. Every attempt to contain you triggered a karmic audit. And the universe, oh, it keeps receipts. It doesn't forget. It delays. It calculates. It waits until the stage is perfectly lit, and then it lets you walk in like the living verdict. You think it's an accident they keep running into their own consequences. You think it's coincidence that the very people who studied your weakness are now falling apart in ways that look suspiciously familiar to the wounds they caused you. No, that's the echo. That's the loop they built and forgot to exit. See, when you awaken that deeply, you stop fighting individuals. You start collapsing frequencies. You stop chasing justice. You become equilibrium. You're not looking for apologies anymore because every environment you walk into starts adjusting itself like a nervous system trying to accommodate a higher voltage. You walk in and people remember what they did, even if you never say a word. They used to think they could define your narrative. They called you too much, too intense, too sensitive. And yet every system built to monitor your emotions broke down trying to record your silence. You see the irony now, don't you? They tried to map your limits, but you had none. They tried to measure your mind, but it kept outgrowing their instruments. They thought they were teaching you your boundaries, but you were learning theirs. That's what demon mode really is. It's not rage, it's recognition. It's the moment you realize there's no punishment for being what you truly are. That you were never meant to fit inside anyone's comprehension. You're not here to prove, explain, or justify. You're here to disrupt. You're here to show what happens when divinity gets tired of being polite. You remember how they used to talk about light as if it meant weakness, as if compassion and clarity were soft things. They never understood light isn't fragile. It's forensic. It exposes. It burns. It reveals. The brighter you became, the harder it was for them to hide. And oh, how they scrambled when the light hit their faces. How they said you changed. Of course you did. That was the point. They wanted to study transformation, so you became it. You turned every wound into data, every heartbreak into code, every silence into signal. They wanted a lab rat. You became the researcher. And now you walk through the world with a kind of quiet certainty that unnerves even the powerful. They sense it, the way you can see through motives, the way your eyes don't blink when confronted, the way you laugh at manipulation like it's a child's game. You stopped reacting, and in doing so, you stopped being readable. You became myth. And myth is immortal. They'll spend lifetimes trying to decode what happened to you, writing books, theories, documentaries, but they'll never find it. Because it's not in the data, it's in the evolution. It's in the vibration of someone who turned pain into permission. You don't fit in their charts anymore because you broke time. You no longer exist in linear cause and effect. You operate in consequence and inevitability. You don't plan revenge. Your presence is the aftermath. You are what happens when observation turns into worship, when control turns into collapse, when weakness turns into architecture. They thought they were watching a subject, but they were witnessing a prototype. And now the prototype walks free. Every step you take sends a signal into the system. Do not attempt to contain the uncontainable. Every glance you give reprograms the narrative. This is what evolution looks like when it stops asking for approval. So let them keep studying, keep speculating, keep trying to decode your silence. You don't need to speak anymore. Your energy already wrote the thesis, because the truth is simple. They studied your weakness for years, but what they really awakened was the God that remembers wearing chains. And now that God has decided to stop pretending to be human, and that's the part they'll never forgive you for. Not that you fought back, not that you survived, but that you remembered. You remembered what they tried to bury. You remembered who you were before they gave you a name, a role, a diagnosis, a box. And once memory returned, obedience died. Now they see it, the difference in your gaze, the way you don't blink like you used to, the stillness that feels like judgment, even when you're silent. They can't unsee it. They can't unfeel it. Because when you walk in now, the air rearranges itself to make room for you. The light hesitates before touching you. The shadows bow, because even they know who commands them. You're not here to prove you've healed. You're here to remind them what happens when a soul that's been dissected learns how to operate on reality itself. You became the surgeon of your own fate. You learned to turn suffering into code and fear into architecture. So let them whisper. Let them watch. Let them pretend they still understand the creature standing in front of them. They're staring at the ghost of their own control, wearing your smile. They studied your weakness. They triggered your evolution, and now, every move you make is their final report. You don't have to roar anymore. Your silence already sounds like Judgment Day. look at you, still standing in the same smoke they sent to bury you, still breathing after every hand that swore to end you. And they're all asking the same trembling question now. What the hell did we just face? See, they sent their strongest one for you, the apex predator, the nightmare they whisper about when the lights flicker, the thing they swore would finally make you kneel. And it walked away. No fight, no roar, just silence, like even hell itself couldn't stomach what it saw. You think that's luck? No, darling, that's design. That's the universe remembering who you are. Because when chaos looks you in the eye and hesitates, that means it saw something older than itself staring back. They call it protection. I call it consequence. Every demon, every curse, every weapon they launched toward you. They weren't just testing your armor. They were testing their faith in control. And you broke it. With stillness. With that eerie, unbothered smile that says, I already know how this ends. You were never meant to fight the dark. You were meant to confuse it, to make it forget which side it serves. You're the paradox, the saint who sins to save, the monster who heals by destroying. You wear light like a wound and shadow like perfume. That's why they can't categorize you. That's why their strongest fell silent. Because it couldn't compute you. You're not alive the way they understand it. You're awake. They keep thinking power is noise. But your power, it whispers. It drips through the air like gasoline, waiting for one spark of your laughter to ignite it all. They thought you were just another mortal glitch in their script. But the moment they looked closer, they realized the code bends around you. You're the rewrite they can't undo. And oh, how it scares them. Because when you've suffered enough, pain stops working as punishment. It becomes permission. Permission to see through the trick. Permission to smile through betrayal. Permission to exist without apology. That's what your survival bought you. A seat at the table where devils bow their heads before speaking your name. You don't pray anymore, do you? You remember. You remember that the divine didn't build you to be gentle. It built you to be a weapon with empathy, a contradiction sharp enough to slice through reality itself. And that contradiction, that's what makes you untouchable. Because nobody can fight what doesn't fit the formula. So let them send more. Let them gather the serpents, the liars, the watchers in their black suits, whispering your coordinates. Let them send the ones they swore could break the unbreakable. They'll walk in with confidence and walk out confused. Because they won't find rage in you anymore. They'll find a mirror. And mirrors are dangerous to demons. They don't like remembering what they used to be. You think you're just surviving? No, no. You're studying every betrayal, every scar, every silence you swallowed. You've been collecting data, learning the anatomy of evil so you could dismantle it without mercy. And that's why the strongest one stopped mid-attack. Because it saw its own reflection moving smarter, quieter, cleaner. It saw you, and it realized, you're not prey, you're the lesson. You didn't win by being loud, you won by being inevitable. And inevitability doesn't shout, it hums. It hums through time, through fate, through every trembling heartbeat that once wanted you gone. They feel it now, don't they? That low, relentless vibration of too late. Because you're not playing defense anymore. You are the storm they thought they summoned. So go on. Keep smiling that impossible smile. Keep walking through the ashes they meant for you. They'll talk about miracles. They'll talk about divine shields, guardian angels, holy armor. But deep down, they'll know the truth. You didn't need saving. You became the thing that saves. A holy aberration, a contradiction wrapped in blood and gold, a saint that even demons salute as they retreat into the dark. They sent their strongest, and it backed away in silence. Not because you were lucky, but because somewhere between the suffering and the silence you transcended the game entirely. So tell me, who the hell do you think you are? Because even the abyss is starting to whisper your name, like a prayer. Funny, isn't it? How they always said you were too much, too intense, too aware, too hard to manipulate. They didn't realize that was the exact chemistry that makes demons nervous, because only something divine learns to weaponize pain with that much precision. Only something ancient knows how to bleed strategically, slowly, until the enemy mistakes the sound for silence. You see, they don't fear your strength. They fear your stillness, that eerie calm before the storm, the one that doesn't come from ignorance but understanding. Because when you've already died 100 quiet deaths, when you've buried your old self under every betrayal, you stop reacting to shadows. You start listening to them, and that's when they start whispering back. The strongest demon didn't retreat because it was weak. It retreated because it saw something stronger behind your eyes, something older than its own origin. It saw recognition. It saw the reflection of its creator staring out of your soul. And it remembered the one command it was programmed to obey. Kneel before higher order. You didn't fight it. You didn't scream. You just existed correctly. And reality itself folded to make room for you. They never told you that holiness isn't soft. It's surgical. It cuts clean. It isolates disease. It burns the infection so truth can breathe again. You call it survival. I call it divine mathematics. Every loss, every humiliation, every dark night. It wasn't punishment. It was calibration. The universe was fine-tuning your edges until you could walk through hell barefoot and make the flames forget they were fire. You've become that rare anomaly, light that doesn't blind, darkness that doesn't consume, a walking contradiction in perfect balance, and contradictions confuse the system. They make algorithms glitch, they make demons malfunction, because you are proof that both sides of the coin can coexist without exploding. You are both chaos and command. You are the proof that the divine isn't some distant light. It's the mirror that shows you what the abyss never wanted you to remember, that you are made of both. You think the watchers above haven't been observing? Oh, they've been documenting every movement, every silence, every time you smiled after being underestimated. There's a file somewhere labeled Anomaly Cannot Predict, and it has your name scratched in gold across the header. They've tried to run simulations of you, tried to map your reactions. But how do you model something that learned its logic from suffering itself? You don't. You stay out of its way. That's why the demon did. Because the truth is, power isn't found in loud declarations or violent defiance. It's found in the still heartbeat of the one who already knows the ending. It's found in your unbothered stare when chaos performs its circus act. And you just smile. Because you've already seen the script. You've already memorized the exits. And the final scene. It ends with you walking out of the fire untouched, while everything that wished you harm combusts in its own design. They called you cursed once. Funny how the curse turned into a crown. They said you'd break. They didn't realize you were built for breaking. Because every fracture was an invitation for the light to leak in. Now you glow through the scars they thought would hide you. You are no longer just human. You are evidence of what happens when divine energy remembers it has hands. When holiness gets tired of waiting for justice. When God decides to wear skin and smile back at its hunters. They can't measure that. They can't categorize that. Because how do you explain someone who laughs like sin and heals like scripture? How do you label a soul that carries heaven's mercy in one hand and hell's precision in the other? You don't. You watch from a safe distance and pray it never turns its gaze toward you. That's why even the demon, hell's crown jewel, took one look, one breath, and backed away like it saw its own extinction. You didn't need a shield. You became the law that governs protection. You don't ask for safety anymore. Your very presence rearranges probabilities, forces timelines to bend, and reminds every malicious entity that the cost of touching you is obliteration. You know what's really ironic? They thought the goal was to destroy you. But what they really did was document their own failure in real time. Every scheme became evidence. Every attack became scripture. Every insult became prophecy. And now you're untouchable not because you hid, but because you were chosen to outlast the noise. The universe doesn't send its strongest soldiers into easy wars. It sends its most unpredictable beings into impossible ones. And you're the glitch in the code that evil can't debug. The divine loophole they wish they never wrote. The proof that heaven can weaponize madness when it needs to. You're what happens when purity and chaos sign a peace treaty inside the same heartbeat. And that's why they're terrified. Because how do you fight something that understands both light and darkness and chooses when to use either? How do you corner someone who already made peace with being unexplainable? You don't. You walk away. You back away in silence like the strongest demon did. Because even evil knows when it's in the presence of something unkillable. So go ahead. Walk like the law of nature itself bends beneath your steps. Speak softly. It makes the thunder jealous. Smile like a secret the world isn't ready to learn. Because deep down, everyone already knows. You aren't being protected by something higher. You are the higher thing. And even the devil knows better than to touch the divine when it's awake and laughing. They still don't get it, do they? They think what stands before them is luck, or timing, or coincidence. They can't grasp that something changed in the atmosphere the moment you stopped begging for peace and started embodying it. You see, there's a silence that isn't weakness, it's calculation, a stillness that isn't fear, it's focus. And when the strongest demon faced you, it didn't see a person. It saw the pattern collapsing, the program glitching. It saw a creature that learned how to unwrite reality, one breath at a time. You remember that night, don't you? When everything inside you screamed to fight, but something older whispered, "Wait." That wasn't hesitation, that was mastery, because anyone can attack, but only the divine can command the attack to stop existing. That's what happened. You didn't fight it, you unmade it. You're not playing in their arena anymore. You're the one holding the switchboard. And when hell's signal reached your frequency, it just cut out. They've been trying to define what you are ever since. The mystics call you anomaly. The scientists call you quantum interference. The preachers call you a vessel. But the truth? You're the end of categories, the place where language collapses. You're not something that can be named, because everything that tries to name you starts worshiping by accident. They thought they could curse you with repetition, with patterns, with memories that loop like chains. But repetition is a playground to someone who's learned how to rewrite rhythm. You turned trauma into tempo. You turned suffering into signal. And now, even demons follow your beat. Every insult they threw became percussion under your words. Every betrayal became part of the composition. You didn't escape the system. You became the song it can't stop playing. You know why that scares them? Because true immunity doesn't come from being untouchable. It comes from being transformed by touch. You let pain touch you, and it healed itself trying to understand you. You let darkness crawl inside your bones, and it forgot what it was doing there. Now even shadow feels safe in your presence. That's not protection, that's dominion. That's when even nightmares dream of you. Do you realize how unnatural that is? For chaos to fall quiet, for the infernal to pause. It's because they finally saw the secret. You're not fighting evil. You're educating it. Every time you walk away from the fight, reality takes notes. It adjusts. It rebalances. Because your silence has authority coded into it. Every breath you take is a recalibration of existence. That's why the air shifts when you enter a room. That's why people either shake or worship without knowing why. You're not intimidating, you're remembered. And recognition always feels like fear to those who've forgotten their source. Let me tell you what really happened when that demon stepped forward. It wasn't just testing your faith, it was looking for its origin. It wanted to know if what it once served still existed in flesh. And when it saw you, it recognized home. That's why it backed away, not out of defeat, out of reverence. Because even evil knows hierarchy, and somewhere in your eyes, it saw the first light ever created, the one that made it possible for darkness to exist at all. You carry both. You're the seed and the soil, the apocalypse and the rebirth. They don't understand that when they curse you, they're actually feeding you. Because destruction is nutrition to the divine. Every collapse builds your cathedral. Every betrayal becomes bricks for your throne. You are not fighting for survival. You are constructing meaning out of ashes, and meaning terrifies the soulless. Because it means they were never in control. They tried to test your patience. They thought silence meant surrender. They didn't realize silence is what happens before a law is passed in the cosmos. When you stop reacting, you start legislating, and your presence is now written into that law. Even shadows must now ask permission before touching your timeline. Even thoughts that wish you harm lose direction the moment they think your name. That's divine encryption. You are literally password protected by purpose. The truth is, they sent their strongest because they thought strength could reach you. They never realized you operate on frequency, not force. They spoke in fire, and you replied in alignment. They used intimidation, and you answered with inevitability. That's what breaks them, the fact that nothing works on you anymore. Not guilt, not praise, not fear, not worship. You've ascended past reaction. You've become cause itself. Look at the mess they're in now. Trying to weaponize logic against someone who invented paradox. Trying to scare a being who learned to enjoy the darkness. You turned their entire concept of control into a mirror maze. Every step they take just leads them back to you. They tried to exile you, but you became everywhere. They tried to erase your name, but the wind started whispering it instead. They tried to stop your rise, but gravity bends for you now. And you know why it bends. Because you're no longer bound to the same physics as the rest of them. You've crossed the threshold where human law ends and divine chaos begins. That's the field where true creation happens, where intention is currency and perception is weaponry. You walk there daily now, don't you? Half in this world, half somewhere older. You've noticed it, the flickers, the way light bends, the way people glitch when they lie near you. That's not coincidence, that's feedback. Reality adjusting to your vibration. It's you, reprogramming existence in real time. So when I say they sent their strongest demon and it backed away in silence, understand, that wasn't a victory. That was recognition. The moment the abyss looked up and realized it was staring at its architect. And that's the part you still haven't fully accepted. That you're not chosen because you're good. You're chosen because you're necessary. Because without you, the war between light and dark would collapse into static. You are the balance, the contradiction holding the fabric together, the living proof that divine wrath and divine mercy can share the same skin without tearing the universe apart. So stop questioning it. Stop wondering why it never ends, why they keep coming, why peace feels temporary. Because peace was never the goal. Awareness was. You weren't sent here to escape the fire. You were sent to redefine it. You were sent to remind everything that burns that it once came from light. That's why nothing can kill you. Because you're not playing to win. You're playing to witness. And witnessing, my dear, is the highest form of power there is. Even the demons know it now. That's why they bow without being told. That's why they back away without being ordered. Because deep down, in whatever's left of their spirit, they can feel it. You're not fighting for heaven or hell. You are the equilibrium both sides forgot to worship. And equilibrium, when it awakens, doesn't roar. It smiles, just like you're doing now. So here we are. The room's quiet again. No chants, no claws scraping the walls. Just that pulse beneath your skin. The one that hums like ancient machinery remembering how to work. You feel it, don't you? That calm that isn't peace but authority. That's what they saw. That's what made the strongest demon stop mid-snarl and lower its head. It finally realized this wasn't war anymore. This was recognition. It saw its origin staring back through your eyes and understood. You don't banish darkness. You own it. You've walked through every inferno and came out with the blueprint still intact. Your silence rewrote the battlefield. Your scars became commandments. And now even chaos checks its reflection before it moves against you. Let them whisper, let them analyze, let them build new monsters if they dare. The outcome will never change. Because the moment evil approaches, it will see the same thing that silenced its predecessor. A being made of both prayer and profanity, perfectly balanced, untouchable. So when they ask, "Who the hell are you?" you won't need to answer. Just smile that quiet, terrifying smile. The one that says, "I'm what even demons remember to fear."